Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Monday, November 5th City Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderman Velko. Present. Alderman Vera. Present. Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conklin.
Present.
Alderman Moiseo.
Present.
Alderman Beekman. Present. Alderman Newsom.
Present.
Alderman Pepper.
Present.
Alderman Mayor.
Present.
Great. We have a quorum. Please rise for a moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a couple of announcements I'd like to make real quick about some community events. Waukegan Township Park Place is hosting a Celebrating Our Heroes event this coming Saturday from 12 noon to 1:30. That's at 414 South Lewis Avenue. They have a pianist and vocalist that will be there. Some veterans will be speaking. The Navy Band from Great Lakes, North Chicago JROTC Color Guard, and the Waukegan High School drill team. Next, we have our Veterans Day Parade, Sunday, November 11th. The parade kicks off at 10:30 in the morning at Grand and Genesee. We should arrive around 11:15 at Weston, Washington for the ceremony. The First Presbyterian Church of Waukegan is hosting an array of American anthems in cooperation with the Waukegan Park District. That will be Sunday, November 11th at 4 p.m. November 17th from 5 to 10 p.m. we have the monthly Art Walk event in the Waukegan Arts District. Then the Holiday Walk 2012 will be taking place in December 8th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. That also is in the Downtown Arts District on Genesee Street. Free entertainment, art of all types, fun activities, and treats for kids. I received one of those letters we all love to get so much that the person doesn't have the guts to sign, that came to me towards the end of October, and I'd like to read it to you, and then I'm going to read the rebuttal that came from contacting the party that was being attacked as well as the city, and so that people can be brought up to date by what's going on. Dated October 25th, 2012, Dear Mayor Sabanjan, frankly, I am shocked and stunned by what I have heard and parentheses and more importantly not heard over the past few weeks. While Vista Health System announced its intentions to open a new hospital in Lindenhurst, you were silent. While Western Lake County rejoined, you said nothing, not a word. Do you understand what this means for Waukegan? Do you understand that Lindenhurst's joy is our sorrow? If not, let me spell it out for you. Vista Health System is part of a publicly traded company. That means they are in the healthcare business for the profits, not the patients. As soon as they find a more lucrative payer mix, in example Lindenhurst, they will abandon Waukegan and all of us. Have you been to Vista West campus lately? I wouldn't get health care there if somebody paid me. The same will happen to Vista East if the health system gets its Lindenhurst hospital. So what are you going to do? How about trying to get a commitment from Vista that they will stay in Waukegan? And not just stay in Waukegan, but actually invest in their facilities. Over the years, we have watched businesses after business leave our city. We watched as the state passed us by for a casino. We recently heard that even our YMCA is closing its doors. But we cannot afford for our only source of health care to leave. Not now, not ever. It's about time you make some noise. Signed off with some unintelligible scrawl. Okay, here's a little noise. I contacted Vista, spoke to Barb Martin, who was the president and CEO of our facility here in Waukegan, and I'm going to read to you the letter that she sent to me. Dear Mayor Sabanjan, I would like to respond to any concerns you've received from local residents about the commitment of Vista Health System to the Waukegan community. Vista Health System has very deep roots in Waukegan, with over 100 years of service to its citizens, and we look forward to the next 100 years. Let me provide some recent examples of our commitment. We are in the process of completing the full renovation of our new family center at Vista Medical Center East with beautiful new labor and delivery suites and a brand new NICU. I believe that's natal intensive care unit. This unit will open in early 2013 at a cost of approximately $10 million. In February 2012 at Vista Medical Center East, we opened our fully remodeled same-day surgery center, along with a new wound care center with 2 hyperbaric chambers and a new surgery waiting room at a cost of $3.6 million. In July 2011, at Vista Medical Center East, we installed the latest generation of the Da Vinci surgical system for robotic-assisted surgical procedures. The state-of-the-art system reduces pain for patients and shortens their recovery time, plus it provides vastly improved capabilities for our surgeon. This high-tech system cost approximately $1.1 million. In mid-2011, we spent $1.8 million at both Vista Center East and Vista Center West in assorted life safety projects. In March 2011, we opened our completely renovated progressive care unit at Vista East, featuring all private rooms at a cost of $5.2 million. In 2010, we added a vitally important electrophysiology cardiac cath lab at Vista East at a cost of $2 million. We also opened our renovated GI ICU waiting area that cost $1.4 million. In 2009, we opened a new 24-bed ICU at Vista Medical Center East, costing $7.4 million. The ICU required the highest level of technology and engineering design in order to treat the highest level of critical care patients. What I've pointed out, what Barb Martin pointed out, are the big-ticket investments that Vista Health System has made in Waukegan. Also, please note the proposed hospital at the Lindenhurst campus will enhance the success of Vista Medical Center East, as this facility will continue to be the center of inpatient care for residents of Waukegan and surrounding communities, with services such as open heart surgery, orthopedic surgery, and more. Since we were acquired by Community Health Systems, we have invested more than $70 million in both Vista East and Vista West. Rest assured, we are committed to Waukegan and to the local community we serve. You know, I just felt like that was necessary to get out there, because I am concerned that the people who sent me the letter will be engaged in sending those other letters to our local officials and other members of the community. And I know from my personal experience, Vista has a commitment to the city of Waukegan. I don't have that same concern. It's something that will be here for years and years to come, I'm sure of it. And as far as the hospital out in Lindenhurst, why is it fair that people who live west of that area, Antioch and other places, should have their lives put in danger by the fact that the closest medical facility to them is either Libertyville or the city of Waukegan? And in some instances where life and death are measured in a matter of seconds, minutes, I think it's only fair that hospitals be out that way. And there's no saying that people from Waukegan can't have jobs out there, can't be part of the building project, or any other level of this new hospital facility should it be approved. So I intend, as the mayor, just as I did when I was a county commissioner, to continue to support the expansion of Vista out into the Lindenhurst area. That concludes my mayor's comments for the evening.
Your Honor?
Yes?
Real quick, I'm living proof that Vista did all right.
Yes, you are.
That in the Waukegan Fire Department, I'm living proof.
That's absolutely right. I agree. We were fortunate that they were close enough to address Alderman Moisio's health issue that arose about a year ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And I think he got the best of care, and I know that they will continue to provide the best of care for the rest of Waukegan residents and others that are close by. Mayor's comments are over. Audience time. First up, we have Mr. Chuck Lackey. I'm sorry, Chuck. And if you would please introduce yourself and give your address, and I will be timing all comments to keep everybody as close to 3 minutes as we reasonably can.
Mayor, Councilman, my name is Chuck Lakey. I live at 5531 Hilltop Lane. Just have about 3 comments tonight. One, make sure everybody gets out and vote if you haven't voted already. Honor those veterans that we've been honoring this week. And let them know that, or let ourselves know that we appreciate everything that they did for us. I'm also here tonight to support the nomination of Andy Hayes to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Andy is one of the first volunteers from the 9th Ward in Alderman Rivera's area, and he's here to try to help develop economic development in Waukegan. We're very proud of him. We worked with him on the Homeowners Association for a long time, and he's a friend and a very, very capable individual. Last time I was here, I was also talking about the tax levy at the tax levy meeting, and I still have concerns that the website and the legal communication for that notification to the fellow citizens of Waukegan is insufficient. Now, I don't know what the laws are, but I do know that after I talked about it last week, I also saw in the News Sun headlines about the Lake County tax review meeting, and it was not buried in an obituary form. And I believe that the website, we've been talking about it now for over 2 years. I hear that we're trying to make some moves on it, but there is still some major work that has to be done. So in order to try to find out where we are on taxes for myself, I went to the Lake County website to try to get a comparison on communities to see what has happened. In the flat tax, when I first started coming to these meetings in 2009, that was a year that we, I believe, voted for a flat tax in 2010. Well, we ended up having, Waukegan has the highest tax levy next to Zion of any of the surrounding communities. And in 2010 to 2011, this is on the website, and it's called the predominant tax rate, and that covers everything. Apparently, that's getting thrown into the individual municipalities. Waukegan is 11.02 in 2010. In 2011, it was 12.74. That was a 15.6% increase. In Zion, they were 11.79, 13.77. That was a 16.8% increase. The thing that they have in common is they're getting services from Waukegan. So Grays Lake and Haynesville, North Chicago, Park City is 7.67, 7.94. They had a 3.5% increase between 2010 and 2011. Gurnee, 7.27, 7.87. Libertyville, 6.53, 6.82 for a 4.4. I'm over?
Go ahead.
Okay, one more comment. All I can say is if you drive down River Road, you go to the left, and you have a house that's valued at, let's just pick $500,000, or as Tina would say, it's a $250,000 house. On average, we're paying between $3,000 and $4,000 a year per house, more taxes, with somebody with the same assessed evaluation in Lake County, and that's just not fair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Violet Ricker.
Good evening. My name is Violet Ricker. I live at 203 West Water Street, and I'm also the director of Waukegan Main Street, our downtown development nonprofit. I just want to reiterate a couple of dates that the mayor announced to you and tell you that those are also all volunteer opportunities. So the first one is November 11th. That will be the Veterans Day Parade in downtown Waukegan. If anybody would like to walk with Waukegan Main Street, we'll be participating in that, and you can contact our office. If anybody would like to volunteer for our upcoming holiday walk, that's on December 8th. It's a really fun, family-friendly event. The whole event is free, and that's geared towards bringing more people to downtown Waukegan and getting them in all of the businesses. So if you'd like to volunteer for that, we need help all day and leading up to it in planning. And lastly, I'd just like to announce a save the date. We're very excited to be holding our annual Mardi Gras fundraiser again at the Puerto Rican Society this year. That will be February 9th, 2013. And so we're working right now to organize people and get some of the events going for that. So if you'd like to volunteer for any of those events, you can contact our office at 847-623-6650 or visit us online at waukeganmainstreet.org, or you can talk to me afterward tonight. Thanks very much.
Next is Kevin Malo. Malo? And Kevin, if you could please give your full address too, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Kevin Malo. I'm from 929 South McAllister. I'm coming here today because I was pulled over by an officer, I believe, in Lenox and 8th Street. And he actually pulled me over for not having a front license plate, which I didn't know because I just got off of 41. When I asked him, I didn't really think it was a problem because I see a lot of Camaros and a lot of luxury cars that don't have front license plates. So he wrote me a ticket, and basically I'm here just to talk about it because I wanted to know why, even though I wasn't acknowledged of the plates being knocked off from getting off the highway, why I wasn't at least given a warning to be able to get them fixed before I was given the ticket.
Okay. Well, we don't do the back and forth from here to public comment generally,
Okay.
so I'm really not able to answer that question for you at this exact moment. This has come up before, though. You're not the only person that's brought this up in the last 3 years, this question about the front license plates. Do me a favor. Give my office a call tomorrow, and you and I will talk, and we'll provide you with information on that, okay?
Okay.
Would you mind doing that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that would be great. You and I will have a discussion about it, and we'll see what we can do to figure this out. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate your getting up to speak. It is something, I've seen it myself, so it's something that we kind of need to have a sit-down about and find out what's going on regarding, because I see Ferraris with no front license plates, but then I'll see a Volvo wagon that has it, and they're both driving on the same roads. Yep, so, we need to get this figured out for the city so we're consistent on it. We will do that. That concludes our audience time. I would like to take a motion to approve the minutes of October 15th, 2012, the regular meeting minutes by Alderman Beedling, seconded by Alderman Rivera. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. We have the resolutions and proclamations, presentations, and appointments. The first one, I would like to take a motion from Alderman Rivera, seconded if you could by Alderman Tempest, to reappoint Michael Rodriguez to the Planning and Zoning Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Item B, appointing Andy Hayes to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I'd like a motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Valco, to make the appointment of Andy Hayes to the Planning and Zoning Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. A motion by Alderman Moiseo, seconded by Alderman Cunningham, to appoint Mary Frances Troha to the Historic Preservation Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Item D, a motion by Alderman Newsom, seconded by Alderman May, to appoint Jim Neal to the Historic Preservation Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes Alderman Tempest would like the second on that?
Michael Stewart, the next.
Oh, for Michael Stewart, absolutely. Item E, motion by Alderman Tempest, seconded by Alderman Conkin, to appoint Michael Stewart to the Fire Pension Board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Thanks to everybody that's willing to serve. We appreciate your taking the time to come to the meetings and helping us with the day-to-day business of the city of Waukegan. So congratulations on your reappointments. Very glad to have you back again. Next, we have committee reports and motions. The first up is Alderman Conkin's Public Safety Committee. Alderman Conkin.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have several items. The Public Safety Committee met on October 22nd at 5:30, and we have several items. Item A, the Public Safety Committee recommends, and I so move, that the proper city officials be authorized to accept the bid for the ballistic body armor and enter into a 3-year contract with Strikers to supply departmental body armor as needed in the amount of $945 each for female body armor and $812 each for male body armor. Funding for these purchases will be taken from the Narcotics Forfeiture Fund 296, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman Conkin, seconded by Alderman Valco. Any comments or questions? I will say that the reason that the women's vests are more expensive, it's not like taking the women's dresses to the cleaners. There are actual structural reasons why the vest costs more, and that's why you have the slight price differential between them. No comments or questions. Roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Item B, Public Safety Committee recommends, and I so move, the proper city officials be authorized to modify the policy for the honorary street naming. We've just made a couple modifications. We added a spot for the which ward an honorary street name would go up, so it would be easier to keep track of on the application. We changed it. Actually, there was a consensus among the committee. They felt that 1 year was too short, so we changed it to 2 years. And I believe that the other one was we added a statement making sure that it was known that the modifications in this policy that we're putting in place are retroactive to all signs that are now in the city at this time. With that regard, I make the motion. I so move.
Motion by Alderman Conken, seconded by Alderman Tempest. Comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom. Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Item C, the Public Safety Committee recommends, and I so move, that the proper city officials be authorized to engage the professional services of RRP Incorporated at 1725 North Lewis Avenue, Waukegan, Illinois, 60085 for the Police Department's capital improvement project, police department renovations for an amount not to exceed $25,000. Funding for the professional services provided by RRP will be taken from capital improvement bond funds, general obligation bond series C, account number 307-1307-26392. I so move.
Motion by Alderman Conken, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. Comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Item D, Public Safety Committee recommends, and I so move, that the proper city officials be authorized to use bond proceeds and award the bid to McDonough Mechanical Services Incorporated, the lowest qualified bidder, to remove and replace the condensing unit and coil using capital improvement bond funds, general obligation bond series C, bond cost center line item 307-1307-26392. I so move.
Motion by Alderman Conken, seconded by Alderman Cunningham. Comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
And our final item, item E, Public Safety Committee recommends, and I so move, that the proper city officials be authorized to solicit bids for air conditioning of Station 4 using capital improvement bond funds, general obligation bond series C, bond cost center line item 307-1307-26392. I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman Conken, seconded by Alderman Beedling. Do we have any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
And your voice is just a...
Oh, this is okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
And finally, Your Honor, just for information only, that the Waukegan Police Department received a forfeiture check in the amount of $8,042.92 from the Illinois State Police.
Very
That's all
good.
I have.
We
Thank
can
you.
use it. Thank you very much. Thanks for all the hard work on Public Safety Committee. Next, we have Judiciary Committee report. Alderman May.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Judiciary Committee met on October 29th. The first item on the Judiciary Committee report pertains to an application by the Waukegan Park District for the vacation of parts of Cornell Road and Highland Avenue. Both of the proposed vacations are unimproved rights-of-way in the 8th Ward. The committee did vote on these items and recommended an approval of the vacations with certain conditions. It is my belief that it is in the best interest of our residents, whose tax dollars fund the Park District, for this item to return to the committee for reconsideration of the conditions therein. I have spoken with the members of the committee, who mostly agree that it would be worthwhile to revisit this ordinance before presenting to council for a final recommendation. I've spoken with the executive director of the Park District, who has agreed to make a formal presentation at our next meeting to ensure the committee a complete and thorough understanding of the vacations. Therefore, I'd like to make a motion to send the issue back to committee for possible amendments to the conditions therein.
We have the motion by Alderman May. Do we have a second?
second it.
Seconded by
Second.
Alderman Valco. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes. I'm sorry. Alderman Tempest is a nay on that. It will be returned to committee for future work on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next item is zoning calendar V-3-12 and pertains to an application from the Waukegan Unit School District Number 60 for the partial vacation of the alley southwest of the intersection of McAllister Avenue and South Avenue, just north of Carmen Buckner Elementary School in the First Ward. The school district recently acquired the adjacent lot to create a pickup and drop-off area which will create a safer environment for these students rather than the current curbside method. The school district has agreed to take on the responsibility for the snow plowing and salting of the alley along with other conditions contained in the presented ordinance. Therefore, the Judiciary Committee recommends to adopt as presented the ordinance approving zoning calendar V-3-12, vacation of the alley southwest of McAllister and South Avenue, and I so move.
Okay. We have the motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Cunningham. Do we have any comments or questions? Alderman Rivera, then Alderman Tempest.
I was just wondering, is the school district paying for the vacation?
No, we are not, that was not part of our recommendation.
How much would this cost if we were to charge?
$580.
Okay, and then
But they are taking on the salting and snow plowing of the entire alley, and we felt it was a good agreement.
okay.
Yes, Alderman Tempest.
I think Alderman Rivera mentioned my comments as the same reason I voted against the park board. The school district combines, we have more high schools than just Waukegan. We have the Libertyville school system, we have the Warren school system, a little bit of Beach Park. And, you know, I just feel we ought to be consistent. And I'm not against the school district, God, no. I'm not against the park district, they do a wonderful job, but we ought to all pay our fair share. And if we charge individuals to vacate alleys, we ought to charge the units of government that we do also. So that's why I'm voting no. It's a great idea, but it's something that needs to be done, yes. But $500, what is it? It's just a token that you're being consistent. And I think being consistent is very important in government. And thank you, Your Honor, for letting me speak.
Thank you, Alderman Tempest. We have the motion and the second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
I'll vote aye, but I agree with Alderman Tempest.
Alderman Cunningham.
Hold on now,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Clerk.
I'm sorry.
Let me finish what I have to say. You know, I agree with Alderman Tempest's, concern about that. We have to be consistent. Here we are, looking for, revenues, for the city, but yet we're not, charging, different governmental agencies, regards to these costs. So, we have to pay our staff too as well. So, I'll vote aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
No.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Next item is zoning calendar number 2372. The Judiciary Committee recommends to approve the conditional use permit and ordinance for the proposed car wash at 3056 Washington Street in the 9th Ward with conditions outlined by staff, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Rivera. Comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom. Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Next item is zoning calendar number 2373. The Judiciary Committee recommends to approve the conditional use permit and ordinance for the proposed pawn shop at 422 North Green Bay Road in the 9th Ward with conditions outlined by staff. I'd like to ask another member of my committee to make this motion.
I so move.
We have the motion by
you can-
Alderman
Excuse me.
Rivera,
Do it?
Yeah, motion. I so move.
seconded by Alderman Valco.
Second, yes, sir.
We have the second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom.
No.
Alderman Tempest.
I also vote no, we don't need another pawn shop in Waukegan.
Alderman May.
No.
The ayes have it.
Next item, zoning calendar number 2374. The Judiciary Committee recommends to approve the conditional use permit and ordinance for the proposed upper-story residences in a commercial district at 11 North Genesee Street in the 4th Ward with conditions outlined by staff, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Beedling. Do we have any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom. Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
The next item is regarding piezometers on the JM property. The US EPA is requiring Johns Manville to place and sample and eventually remove these implements to measure pollution and on city property, and so we're amending our agreement to allow them access to our property. So the Judiciary Committee recommends to approve the placement of piezometers on city-owned land, and I so move.
Motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Rivera. Do we have any comments or questions? Alderman Beedling?
Why did the EPA bring this up? They request this?
Amy, you want to come up and address the question?
Johns Manville is doing the final steps necessary to be able to close out their cleaning of their site, and part of the remediation of their site requires that they prove that none of the pollution from their site is escaping from their site to neighboring sites. And this particular piece of property is at the end of Greenwood Avenue, right between the power plant and Johns Manville, by the lake. And so it's one of the places that the US EPA has asked them to make sure that there's nothing coming onto our property, and if there is, that they clean it up now before they leave town.
They don't find anything, are they going to move them further north to find the source of the asbestos that's washing up, I assume, right?
Well, the goal is not to find the source of asbestos that might be washing up on, say, Illinois Beach State Park. The goal is to see whether there's any pollution of any nature coming from Johns Manville to any neighboring parcel.
Thank you.
And if it is, they clean it up.
And if
they
there
would be
is, to clean it up now before they leave town, and US EPA gives them a clean bill of health.
Thank you.
Can we hold this on?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Amy.
Do we have any other comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom. Alderman Tempest. Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Next item is pertaining to the Coral Chemical Highway Authority Agreement and Addendum. The Judiciary Committee recommends to approve the Highway Authority Agreement and Addendum as presented with Coral Chemical Company, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Rivera. Do we have any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom. Alderman Tempest. Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
The next item is an ordinance to repeal and replace Chapter 21, Article 4 of the Waukegan City Code. This is a cleanup of the ordinance book to mirror state statute, and the Judiciary Committee recommends to approve the ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 21, Article 4 pedestrians of the Waukegan City Code, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Conken. Do you have any comments or questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Alderman Valco.
During judiciary, there was, I brought up something, and Anna, are we 2193 and 21195 go against each other? Have we decided what we're going to do with that?
Right, we fixed it so that they would get the right of way.
Anna, could you please come up here so that we can record your comments? Thank you.
And for the record, so everybody knows what we're talking about, Section 21193 said that pedestrians with disabilities who cross at any point except that are not in a crosswalk have to yield to a vehicle. Okay? 21195 says that the driver of the vehicle shall yield to anybody with a disability. So that's what we're talking about here. They're conflicting.
Right. I double-checked, and state statute does have that conflict, but based on the recommendation from judiciary, I changed it so that it is to yield to a person with a disability.
Good.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Very good. Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling.
Aye.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
The next item is an amendment to Chapter 3 of the Waukegan City Code. The Judiciary Committee recommends to have Corporation Council adopt an ordinance as presented, creating a delineated festival zone, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Rivera. Do you have any comments or questions? Alderman Conken.
Just a question, is there a particular zone already delineated, or is this can change depending on the festival?
It would change depending on the event.
Okay.
I think keeping it flexible is probably the best way, instead of trying to clean up around the corners of something, probably the best way to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Next item is a right of entry license agreement, and this was an agreement with the Waukegan Harbor Citizens Advisory Group, the contractor, the Davie Resource Group, and the City of Waukegan. This is this work the Davie Group will be doing is through a GLRI grant obtained by the CAG, and it's going to allow them access to our property east of Seahorse Drive to do elimination of invasive species and controlled burns and such. So the Judiciary Committee recommends to approve the right of entry license agreement as presented with the Waukegan Harbor Citizens Advisory Group and the Davie Resource Group, and I so move.
Motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. Do we have any comments or questions? Yes, Alderman Beedling.
Controlled burn, does that require the fire department to be down there to?
Generally, they do have a presence at most controlled burns, as far as I know. Chief, is Chief Young here?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Chief, if you could come up, please, just answer real quickly. I know at the Illinois State Beach Park, they usually have some fire personnel present.
Usually they have their own crews when they do the prescribed burns. We're on call. We have to take and have the EPA permit along with our permit. But usually we're not involved unless it gets away from the professional burners, as you would call them.
Okay. But these are people, these aren't just volunteers who don't know what they're doing.
No, it's a professional company that knows how to back burn and what they need to burn. And usually they'll make sure that the wind's is in the correct direction to be blowing out towards Michigan instead of towards us.
Okay, good. Well, maybe it'll blow to Beach Park.
No,
they'll get a taste of our smoke for a change instead of we're getting theirs all the time.
We've had that happen upon occasion. That starts out at our end and goes north.
Well, yeah, that's true. Thank you, Chief, very much. Yes, Alderman Beedling. Chief, do you need the chief to stay up front?
Probably not.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Okay, yes.
So if the wind shifts, do they get show-up time or something if they drive there? And Since it's a taxpayer grant, right?
We don't really have anything to do with that part of the contract.
Well,
Yeah, I
it's
can't.
all of our money being spent to pay for it.
It's actually, yeah, it's money that was found in grants by Susie Schreiber and CAG to be able to do this up here. I don't think we actually have that sort of power over whether or not people show up and get pay or not if the wind is wrong. I don't think that's an issue that we will probably be dealing with.
That's a shame. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alderman. Did we get the motion?
Yeah, we're set.
Okay, that would be a roll call, please. No, I'm sorry. That would be a voice vote. Yeah.
It's a roll call.
Are we doing a roll call? Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera. Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom. Alderman Tempest. Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
The next two items are similar, but with two different locations, and it pertains to the police department to place, or the city to place antenna to enhance the emergency communication services through the placement of antenna on two separate locations. So the first one, the intergovernmental agreement. The Judiciary Committee recommends to approve the intergovernmental agreement as presented with the Waukegan Public Schools to locate a booster for emergency communication systems at Greenwood School, 1919 North Avenue. And I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. Do we have any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom. Alderman Tempest. Alderman May.
Ayes have it.
Aye. Next
Sorry.
item, intergovernmental agreement. The Judiciary Committee recommends to approve the intergovernmental agreement as presented with Beach Park Fire Protection District to locate a booster for emergency communication systems at their fire station, 37850 North Lewis Avenue, and I so move.
Motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Conken. Do we have any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom. Alderman Tempest. Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Alderman May, and your committee for all the hard work to get ready for this meeting. Next up is Alderman Newsom and the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Finance Committee met this evening at 6:30 p.m. Item A on the agenda is to adopt a resolution authorizing the City Treasurer and Director of Finance and Administration to transfer $100,000 from TIF Number 4 Special Tax Allocation Fund to a construction escrow related to the redevelopment agreement with Art Space Projects Incorporated, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman Newsom, seconded by Alderman May. Do we have any comments or questions? Alderman Tempest?
Yes. I was saying in regards to the TIF District Number 4, special tax, how much is left in that fund? Maybe Tina can tell me. Because I thought before Art Space came to this council and they asked us to repair the sidewalks in the front for $150,000 or $160,000, I voted nay because I felt sidewalks are one thing, but sidewalks don't cost $150,000. And further investigation, I found that they were talking about the foundation of the building inside, the bricks and so forth, which I really didn't feel was part of sidewalks. That's part of Art Space's commitment to the building. And I thought that was going to end the transfer of money out of that fund, so I'm confused.
This isn't related to the sidewalk issue at all. This is the existing redevelopment agreement. Part of that redevelopment agreement included a rebate of property taxes paid on an annual basis from the city back to the Art Space owner for the duration of the redevelopment agreement, which is probably a 20-year agreement. TIF funds were to be used to make that rebate. We're closing TIF 4. The planning department is working on establishing a new TIF, but there's going to be a year or so gap in between the TIFs existing. So we're just recouping some of the TIF dollars we currently have and set them aside so we can honor those rebates without having to use general fund money.
Is this the end of the TIF 4?
TIF 4 is closing December 31st.
100,000 is coming out of TIF 4.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the $160-some thousand was the end, the money that was left over in TIF 4, that was the end of it. Or is this the end of it now?
Well, when December 31st comes and we are done getting all of the receipts into TIF 4 and we identify any encumbered or committed funds, whatever is remaining will be turned over to the county. So we don't know that exact amount. We had an estimate, but we won't know until the last receipts come in from the county and we subtract what's committed or encumbered.
Or the TIF funds are to improve that area.
Correct.
So we should spend it all. I mean,
ideally, I'll agree with you on that.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I thought that was already ended, and I see another 100,000 is why I wondered why.
Thank you, Alderman.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Do we have any other comments or questions? No. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco. Aye. Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Aye. Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
I voted aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Item B will be placed on the agenda for next month. We'll be taking that item out. Item C, authorize the Information Technology Director to enter into a specific contracts in a cumulative amount not to exceed $85,000 for implementation of a citywide time and attendance program. Budget code 307-1307-26495. And I so move.
Motion by Alderman Newsom, seconded by Alderman May. Do we have any comments or questions?
Aye again, Your
Yes,
Honor.
Alderman Tempest?
If I may.
Please.
Citywide time and attendance program. Could you give us a little input on just exactly what we're talking about here?
Well, it's a way of tracking to make sure that you know better when people are showing up for work, if they're clocking out. There's a lot of positions in the city that don't have any form of a system for knowing clocking in and out.
Is that like my fire chief?
And it's done on
No,
paper.
Am I police chief?
that's different.
Well,
yeah,
hell, you don't have to worry about their hours they put in, I tell you that.
Yeah.
Are we talking about elected officials? Some put in a lot, some put
No,
in
it has
mucho.
nothing to do with that. It's non-elected personnel. It's non-management level personnel.
Non-management.
Right. So that
City yards, I'm just trying to where we're spending this money and why.
Right.
I know we got time clocks, it's just city yards.
But they're not throughout the whole system. We feel that this will give us a better handle on the hours
here in
worked.
the clerk's office, you got one gal working for him, two?
Your Honor.
You keep her time for her, do you?
Well,
Alderman Moiseo.
Tina gave a great explanation at the committee meeting of how this is down the road. I think makes us a better, more efficient system, and it's going to save us a little bit of money initially. Go ahead, if Tina would, please.
So this will be citywide. You're right, we do currently have time clocks at the water plant and at Public Works. They use physical cards and they punch in the cards. The staff at Public Works then transcribes that in a handwritten format to paper, and then it's brought down to the finance department, and one of our employees then manually keys it in to the payroll system, and then that's how just the water plant and Public Works is processed. And then we have the police department, which they have it all in a scheduling system. They print out a hard copy every day. That comes over to the finance department. We have someone that then keys that all in. And then when we get to payroll and we start to process, we inevitably have officers that put down time they don't have in their bank. So what this will do is gives you live information, so when you're creating your schedule, if you're clocking in, if you're at the water plant, if the CO is recording you as reporting in, it knows if you have time off to take, if you're scheduled, if you're supposed to be there, and it'll eliminate a lot of manual entry, and that's where we see a lot of the errors.
The error.
Mm-hmm.
And deletions. 85,000.
Just to give, and the information was included in the packet for Finance Committee. We did have 2 quotes. Kronos was the other firm that quoted. We're recommending Time Clock Plus. The Kronos system, all included, would have been in excess of $300,000. So we think that by using intra-departmental team, we had people from the police department, fire, public works, and planning, all looking at the RFP, defining what we really need and what we don't need. We didn't need the Cadillac that Kronos was. What we need is something that will allow employees to know what their banks are, help supervisors schedule, and help get payroll processed without as many errors due to manual entry. So we think that this is a very reasonable solution, affordable, and we'll be able to implement it in a short amount of time.
Are you saying the present system does not work?
Yes, I am saying that. It does not work. There's a lot of errors, and we've had several audit findings because of it.
Audit? Caught it?
Both financial audit issues and also a Fair Labor Standard Act audit also flagged some issues with our system.
Okay. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Alderman.
Tina, I'm sorry.
Yes, Alderman Cunningham.
Caught my mind. Tina, is this going to give you real time? This is going to give you real time on everybody's banks and everything like that?
It depends on, we have kind of silos of ways that the different departments keep their time. So if you're in this building, Public Works, or the water plant, because it's going to be directly feeding into this Time Clock Plus system, it will give you real-time information. The fire department uses Firehouse software for a number of things, but also scheduling, and the police department has their own scheduling.
Okay.
So there will be a lag from when they download their hours and we upload it into the system and then talk back. So for the police and fire departments, it will be the day after payroll is processed, the time will be updated, but for the civilian departments, it will be real time.
Okay, are you going to have I want to get back to your, that antiquated system that you're using now. Then it has to be a cutoff date. You're going to put a cutoff date where people can say, oh, I had comp time, I want to use it now. So
Thursday's usually our cutoff date to process payroll. This will allow us to, have the cutoff date later. The problem that we run into is even with the cutoff date, the majority of our employees don't work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday.
Right.
So when we flag those issues, a lot of times the officers, either firefighters or police officers or water plant employees, they're not going to check their email for 3-4 days. So sometimes we just go ahead and we fix the payroll, and then we have to communicate with the employee and switch it back. So this should be able to allow employees to understand what their time banks are before they put it down on a timesheet.
Okay. So it should give you as much real time as humanly possible, considering.
For $85,000, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
The
good.
$300,000 would have been
So you
seriously real time.
You did not
but
need everything they provided versus the things you can utilize for our operations.
Exactly. We want to have a system that is functional and affordable. We didn't feel that we needed the kind of robust system that the more expensive solution offered at this point in time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Alderman Cunningham. No further questions. Roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
I'll have to take
Alderman
Tina's
May.
advice and vote aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Item D, authorize use of bond proceeds to fund the award of various contracts as part of the automated time and attendance program in the amount not to exceed $85,000 for information technology improvements, specifically citywide automated time and attendance implementation. Budget code 307-1307-26495, and I so move.
Motion by Alderman Newsom, seconded by Alderman May. Do we have any comments or questions?
Yes.
This is the same item as before. Okay.
No, it's coming from the bonds.
Yeah.
It's coming
Right.
from the bonds.
Right.
And this bothers me. You have to pay back the bonds. And here we are, we're going into the bond fund to help us with our payroll that we don't seem to have presently, make a lot of mistakes on, not able to get it justified. We have some problems regarding that. Bonds we have to pay back. It should be part of our our budget, because next year, what are we going to get the money to take care of this? And the year after, and the year after, is my concern.
I think it's the 85,000 is a one-time purchase.
I didn't hear that.
This is a one-time purchase of the hardware and software.
Okay.
Okay, so there won't be this kind of recurring cost going forward.
Thank you
This
very
was in the budget for $125,000 under the capital, and it was identified as bond funded in the budget.
Okay, so it's not going to be 85,000 next year?
No.
No.
And how long is this hardware going to be good for before we get it updated? That game is...
The hardware, like the ID and the swipe, those should last, 15, 20 years?
I can't hold you then. I won't be around that long.
Okay, 20 years.
Who are you kidding?
Yeah, but Tina, your efficiency time is going to greatly increase, which will ultimately reduce some of your overall costs.
Absolutely, and it'll prevent a lot of errors. That alone takes 10 hours of staff time fixing.
How much?
10 hours. We have over 100 police officers, and that's where we see a lot of the errors.
Oh, shit, this gonna
So
pay for it in a year.
it'll save a significant amount of time.
Oh, it's going to pay for it in a year.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Okay, thank you. We need the roll call.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Just be right, Tina.
Item E, authorize use of bond proceeds to fund the award of a contract to RRP Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $25,000 for Police Department building improvements, specifically project design development, bid process oversight, and construction administration. Budget Code 307-1307-26392, and I so move.
Motion by Alderman Newsome, seconded by Alderman Conken. Do we have any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Item F, authorize use of bond proceeds to fund the award of a contract to McNow Mechanical Services Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $42,892 for fire department building improvements, specifically Fire Station Number 1, air condenser replacement. Budget Code 307-1307-26392, and I so move.
Motion by Alderman Newsome, seconded by Alderman Conken. Do we have any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
That concludes the finance.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, for all the hard work, again, in the Finance Committee. We have no old business, reports and communications. We go right to new business and recommended actions by Corporation Counsel. I do want to alert everybody that following the last item, F, we will go into an executive session. I'm sorry, I apologize. It's after the alderman's comments. We will go into executive session, and for all intents and purposes, the meeting will be over following the alderman's time. Now, item A, approval of payroll dated October 18th, 2012, the amount of $1,306,239.41, and November 1st, 2012, in the amounts of $1,294,705.74 and $31,854.50. Motion by Alderman Newsome, seconded by Alderman May. Roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Item B, approval of bills dated November 5th, 2012, in the amount of $2,567,981.01. Motion by Alderman Newsome, seconded by Alderman Tempest.
No. No?
No? Okay, seconded by Alderman May. Roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Beedling. Alderman Newsom. Alderman Tempest.
I vote aye, except for bill number 443878, McGuire Woods Consulting Service for the city of Waukegan at $8,000 per month. So I'd like the minutes to reflect that I voted for the bills except for that bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item...
Alderman May.
Yeah.
Aye.
Sorry. Item C, approve raffle sale application for the Jack Benny Center. Motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Tempest. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Item D, approve an ordinance establishing a 6-month moratorium on conditional use permits for nightclubs. Motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. Do we have any comments or questions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Alderman Cunningham.
Can I ask, where is this coming from?
Here comes Ann.
We'll let Ann Lynn address that, but
We're going to get a run on nightclubs, or?
Right. The first item is a moratorium requested by the Planning and Zoning Department. The ordinance would place a 6-month hold on approval for new applications coming in after tonight's meeting, if you pass this ordinance, on conditional use permits for nightclubs. The reason for the request for the moratorium or the hold on those is because we've had very recently really just a lot of establishments in Waukegan that are operating in ways that really fall under the nightclub ordinance, and not necessarily in a bad way, but it needs to be addressed. And we've also had a lot of establishments coming to the Planning and Zoning Department asking for conditional use permits or to become nightclubs, or just discussing whether or not they can be nightclubs. It has raised some issues with the police department. We've had some incidents, and so in discussing it, the Planning and Zoning staff felt that it would be a good idea to take a look at the nightclub ordinance again, but in the meantime, ask you to put a moratorium on the issuance of new nightclub conditional use permits going forward, so that we can study the matter and bring some amendments before you to the nightclub ordinance.
Alderman Moiseo.
I'm assuming what's happened with this is you've had some establishments that are not quite a nightclub, but they've been going a little later and maybe pushing the envelope a little bit. The other guys find out, they try to do it, maybe they get stung a little, they say, well, so-and-so's doing it, why can't I do it? Puts the chief and the police department in a bad spot because it's a gray area.
That's right.
And we need to clean this up.
That's exactly right, and we really need to address the ordinance, but we want some time to be able to do it in the right way. So that's why we're asking for the moratorium.
I think maybe we need to go to all the participants in this, the bar owners, whatever, and say, you know, we're trying to clean this up. Now you either play along with us, or we're trying to make this, you know, we're not trying to take business away from it, but we want to do it the right way. So either you're gonna let us do this the right way, or we're gonna come down on it.
Yeah, and we can do that, and it will involve, over the 6-month period, you know, public hearings on a proposed ordinance and everything, so they'll have input for sure.
So, just so we're clear.
Alderman Cunningham?
I'm sorry. Just so we're clear, what does this mean for the existing people and how they're going to operate their business?
Nothing is going to change. During the 6-month period, everything is just on hold. So anybody coming for a new permit or wanting to operate as a nightclub, everything will be on hold while we're studying it and proposing a new ordinance.
How many nightclubs do we have? Do you know?
We actually only have 1 or 2 permitted nightclubs, but that's the problem. Our ordinance does have, as you say, a lot of gray areas, and we have people, in order to increase business, that are really trying to push the envelope a little bit. And it has put some stresses on the police department, and so we really do need to suggest some amendments to the ordinance so that we can do better enforcement.
You know,
First, Alderman, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Alderman May, then Alderman Rivera, then Alderman Valco.
So, Ann, just to confirm, if there is an application that's already in process, that will be granted?
Well, we do have...
It will go through the process?
It will go through the process. We actually have one coming before Planning and Zoning Commission on Thursday evening. They already put their application in previously, so they're not affected by this.
Okay. Alderman Rivera's passing. Alderman Valco?
Asked the same question.
You good?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Alderman Cunningham, anything else, sir?
I will caution this. in the time of our city and as we are trying to grow and develop our community, one of the ways of doing that is through entertainment. Our reasoning for doing this is very good timing, and I just want us to make sure that we're very cautious and extremely open-minded when it comes to this. Any community that has been revitalized, they have done it through the entertainment era, and we cannot be so afraid of it or shy away from it because what potential problems can happen. I think what I would like to see, and I would love to work with whomever is on this committee to make sure that we set the tone as to what are the standards for these nightclubs versus kind of what we're kind of doing right now, because they're on that pushing that envelope edge. We're kind of being a reactive force, which is really strains our police department. By no means, it doesn't. But on the other hand, I think I want to hear our police department give us some direction on what's needed, when is it needed, what time, etc., versus allowing those who have these establishments kind of not dictate, but kind of work at their own willy-nilly, and then, oops, there's a problem, let's call the police. So I commend you on really taking this action. Hopefully when we leave or get back to this, we'll have something that can be set some standards for now and in the future, and obviously leave it open for process improvements. But I don't know who's going to work on it, but I would love to work with you, Ann, and get some ideas for you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. We have the motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. Roll call, please.
Alderman Valco. Aye. Alderman Rivera. Aye. Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling. Aye. Alderman Newsom. Aye. Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Item E, approve an ordinance establishing a 6-month moratorium on surface parking lots in the downtown. Motion by Alderman May, seconded by Alderman Tempest? No?
I need more clarification.
Alderman Moiseo?
Sure.
Okay.
Explain it to me.
Yes.
Well, yes. So, again, let's explain that
Right.
while we're
I'll be
looking at
glad
this.
to. Yes. This is, again, we're asking for some time to be able to come up with an ordinance that addresses something that's just very recently come to be a concern, again, in planning and zoning staff. And that is, this applies only to the downtown area, but we have had a concern that some of our property owners or others are coming in, buying up some smaller lots and wanting to perhaps demolish the existing buildings that are there and just make a surface parking lot. This would really disturb the streetscape, particularly on Genesee Street. It is a really serious concern for the Planning and Zoning Department, and we're not asking for any action other than a hold be placed on any of that going forward for 6 months so that we can address this in a way that will be thoughtful and bring an ordinance to you, and that's the reason for the moratorium request.
I got to go first. The Greentown area is probably one of the most busiest parts of our downtown. They've been begging, pleading, doing everything humanly possible to ask for more parking. We've had more than enough time from a zoning standpoint to come up with some type of resolution for this. And now you're going to tell folks who are on existing buildings, who need this parking, we've come to us with suggestions of their own. And now we're going to strap them and tell them they can't even, they can't even park downtown? I mean, that there needs to be a better way of going through this process right now than waiting till 6 months to come up with a resolution. I just disagree with that right now, because it is, from Water Street, if I want to take from Water Street up to Lake, that area right there, they're getting crushed. They're getting whacked with tickets on a daily basis, minute by minute. They're trying to do everything they can just to provide some needs for their own existing customers.
If I could respond to that, Alderman, with all due respect, we have no proposal from Greentown, and had we certainly would have worked with them, and we understand their parking crunch. We have worked with Joe Hughes recently, who turned the corner of Water and Genesee into a surface parking lot, and we did work with Family First, who, as you know, I think dedicated their parking lot on Sunday. So we've done a lot, and we also, and you approved it with your help, we worked with the county to establish their surface parking lot, where for years they've been planning the parking on the former funeral home site. So I think we've made a lot of gestures to South Genesee to try to relieve that situation, and we've had no other proposals. Again, we haven't put off Greentown or anybody else on South Genesee to try to, in their attempts to try to relieve their parking situation, and we would. This is, as Ann suggested, in response to concerns we have and rumors we've heard that people want to tear down buildings in the middle of blocks that would really disrupt, I think, the pedestrian flow, whether it's on North Genesee or South Genesee, and turn what is currently buildings into parking. Whether that comes to fruition or not, we don't know. And as Ann suggested too, we don't want to stop that entirely, but we need to have some control of where and how that happens. That's all. And again, if something comes up in the meantime from Greentown or anyone else to try to alleviate their parking concerns, of course we would work with them.
Well, I truly hope it doesn't take us 6 months. I guess you can't do it over the winter time anyway.
Well, we'll work as quickly as we can, but we do want to do it in a thoughtful way and in a process that's not rushed, so that we don't do it as best as we can.
And I do agree with that.
So that's why we're asking for 6 months. But of course, we'll try to work in a more expeditious fashion.
For you, Russ, and for Ann, how can I say no?
Moiseo.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for listening, though, honestly. Thank you for listening.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Valco.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Beedling.
Aye.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman May.
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Item F, ordinance levying and assessing taxes of the City of Waukegan, Lake County, Illinois, for the 2012 tax levy year. Motion by Alderman Newsom, seconded by Alderman May. Do we have any comments or questions?
To pass the levy at 21%? No, I'm not. I think this issue has a lot of discussion. I'd like to make a motion to hold it over.
Second.
Let's get this, I agree with you, Alderman Newsom. Let's get this, we don't want to hold it over, it comes up the next meeting. Counselor, we want to table it indefinitely? Or,
No.
When I mean that, we got to get it before December.
Right.
If we hold it over, it's got to be voted the next meeting, correct?
Well, by the 1st of December,
Right.
because the next meeting, Christmas, it's too late.
Right.
We could always have a special meeting, though.
Right, it's got to be filed with the clerk, which means it's been passed by us no later than December 21st.
21st.
So it's got to be done in the month of December.
We got roughly 30, we got enough time.
But the longer we wait, we tie up finance.
It gets
from
harder and
doing
harder
that
for us to
budget
do our work.
and everything, so, I mean, everybody has the ordinance, everybody has the paperwork. I think we need to go over some different scenarios. We've all been presented with a 10%. We can look at that. If there's some other options anybody wants to bring, we can look at those too.
Okay.
But I'm not in favor of the 21%, but there's some other scenarios we can do as well. So I'm looking into those.
Okay, we have the motion by Alderman Newsom, seconded by Alderman Moiseo, I believe.
Sure.
Yes.
If an alderman wishes to hold this over, that's just an automatic holdover.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to go through the motion process.
Right.
So if
You just hold it
Alderman
over.
Newsom has held it over, it's held over unless the council overturns that.
Okay. All right, we're good then. All right, item F is held over. We don't have any ordinances or resolutions, and we will go right to Alderman's time, which will be followed by our executive session, which is going to be a little bit lengthy, just to let everybody know.
Alderman Valco.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I'd like to start out this evening by saying a job well done by the members of the police department on the burglary to smoke and gun on Washington Street and the subsequent attempt on the business the next night. I'm not going to mention any of the names of the detectives involved, as I've already sent them emails, or I've had a face-to-face with them. No name, but one does deserve a special mention, as he was off-duty and saw a suspicious vehicle in the rear lot the next night and investigated, which led to the capture of the second offender. And also, 7 burglaries with 5 arrests were cleared this week in the Glenwood area. Kudos to the detectives. Chief, the guys did a good job. Thank you very much. As most of you know, I spent 35 years of my life with these men and women, and you as citizens can be assured that your police department is, bar none, the finest in Lake County. Video gaming is now up and running in Waukegan. I stopped by Bertrand's Bowl on Washington Street, and their machines are in operation. I've also stopped at North Avenue Tap, and the machines are in and should be available shortly. Because of the leadership of Alderwoman May and this council, 50% of the monies received by the city will go to be paying off the police and fire pension debt. My thanks to the Waukegan Chamber of Commerce for their efforts on putting the Oktoberfest at Fiamicos a week ago, putting on the Oktoberfest at Fiamicos a week ago. My wife and I had a good time tasting samples of beer, kielbasa, and sausage, as well as enjoying the entertainment. Keep up the good work. Mr. Lackey already addressed this, but lastly, vote tomorrow. For you people who are in the audience, obviously those of you that are going to watch this, it'll be over by the time you see this. But you always hear of those who don't vote, and then they complain. Well, did you vote? Well, no. Well, then you've got nothing to complain about, okay? So take the time and effort, go out tomorrow, the polls are open in 12 or 13 hours, and vote. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. I do want to interject that we have discovered that there are, I'm not going to name any locations at this point, but that there have been machines illegally installed and are illegally operating in the city of Waukegan, and we will be going out and taking care of those problems over the next few days so that everybody has their proper licensing and everything's put in place. But we also want to make sure that the providers and installers of the gambling devices are also licensed to do business with the city or in the city of Waukegan. So those are things that we want to follow up on over the next few days. But we do know for sure that there are at least one location, if not more, that have received the machines that don't have the licenses to use them yet.
Mr. Mayor, if I will, that's been taken care of already, sir.
I'm sorry.
It's been taken care of already.
Has that been
Yes,
done?
sir.
I wasn't advised from our licensing director that had been finished. Okay, good.
Alderman Rivera.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to congratulate Michael Rodriguez on the Visionary Award he received this past week in regards to contractors, hiring minority construction workers for their, school projects. And matter of fact, he was also being honored because of the fact that this is a Waukegan. They really like the Waukegan model, and some of these other communities are very interested in seeing a Waukegan model. And I would suggest that Mr. Rodriguez come and visit us to discuss the Waukegan model, because if they can do it, I can't see why we can't. So I would like to see Mr. Rodriguez meet with you, Mayor, to discuss this Waukegan model. I think it would be something interesting to look into as well.
Okay.
Also, I know, Tina, you gave me the Warren Township breakdown on the taxes. I'd like to see if you can get your staff to get me the Libertyville Township as well. I'd appreciate it. Because there's some folks out in the Libertyville Township area in my ward probably be interested in seeing this as well. So, thank you.
Alderman Cunningham.
Three things I have shortly. One, Vista Health, Vista East Hospital, or that whole operation. May I agree with you. Ms. Martin has done an exceptional job, And as Alderman Moiseo said earlier, I bear witness the same. My mom, as many of you know, had quadruple bypass surgery at the hospital and received some of the best care on the North Shore. I don't think building a new facility out in Lindenhurst is going to hurt us. I think if anything, it's going to help us. So, Mayor, I think sometimes most people always see what we always disagree on, but I hope this gets some publicity where we all agree on that this hospital is doing one of the best jobs we've seen in a long time, and they're profitable. The second thing is, I was riding past, going northbound on Jackson Street, and I happened to notice the fire station, Station 1, and they were repairing the roof and things like that. And what caught my eye, it was this big truck as it was hoisting up whatever the materials was. But what really helped me to understand that we're starting to get the message that Waukegan's first is, I saw this big lettering, Waukegan Roofing, that was doing the job at our fire station. As I look through some of these budget proposals, I see that Waukegan companies are starting to get some of these contracts. I tell you, once that message really start getting out and people start, I know sometimes people say that we don't have the skill set or whatever, but if you know that you're going to be receiving various contracts from us, then you would tend to get your skill set in order to receive some of these contracts. So I was very excited to see that right there in open space, that Waukegan companies are starting to reap some of the rewards and get some of the monies that they pay taxes on. Last but not least, at last council meeting, there was a horde of people who came in and gave a lot of kudos to the FISC organization, asked some of the things that they do in this community. What I'm here tonight to do is present to the clerk so they will go on file. It is a petition that says Waukegan families versus sexual predators employed or residing near children. It is a list of those who live in and outside of the area where that individual is employed at, asking for him to be removed. Unfortunately, the person who wanted to present them herself could not be here, and that was Ms. Bates. But she gave me specific instructions to make sure I give this to the clerk so they be a part of the record, because she was very upset. There were so many people who did not live in our community. When I say our community, in that particular area, it was voicing so much, appreciation for what's going on. So she took it upon herself to get petitions, and a host of them, a lot of names on here, and I'm following directions from Ms. Eula Bates, who live at 814 Helmholtz. Mr. Clerk, I will presenting this to you right now, sir. Thank you. That's it. Oh, vote tomorrow. Vote tomorrow, please.
Alderman Conken.
Thank you. Just wanted to reiterate a couple of things. Voting tomorrow, obviously, we've heard a couple of times. It's unfortunate that this TV broadcast won't get out until after Election Day, but make sure everybody spreads the word. Everybody that's here, please spread the word. Another thing I want to remind everybody, again, it won't happen, this won't be on the air until afterwards, but we do have Veterans Day, and I'd like to send out my personal thanks to all veterans. Appreciate the work that you've done. I know that you don't get thanked enough, but my personal thanks to you on Veterans Day. And finally, not just Veterans Day on Sunday, but on Saturday is November 10th. It's the 237th birthday of the United States Marine Corps. So to all my fellow Marines, I say Semper Fi and happy birthday. Thank you.
Alderman Moiseo.
I'd like to thank the chief and the hardworking people of the police department for solving those situations at Shrink and obviously on Glenwood Avenue in the 3rd Ward. The residents are very grateful for that. To the note to the criminals and the ne'er-do-wells, if you commit a crime in Waukegan, you will get caught. I think we've got a pretty good record of that. I think we need to get that out even more. If you commit a crime here, you're going to get caught. And hopefully you're going to go to jail if the people across the street do their job. So kudos to the chief, and I appreciate all that hard work, because Glenwood Avenue was a very quiet street, but for whatever reason, last year it's had a magnet for just random monkey business. And I have to constantly go over there and calm the fears of the residents that it just happens to be, we don't know why, it just happens to be that way. So again, thanks to Chief and his men for taking care of that. Taxes, everybody's least favorite subject. Tina has given us some information. I don't mind, in fact, I welcome people coming up here voicing their opinion about taxes. I just want them to understand. I hope they go to the school districts that represent them, also talk to them about the taxes, because the city is just one portion. The school and the city are probably the two biggest. In Waukegan Township, the school is 64 and the city's 17. In Warren Township, the city's 22. I don't know, I have to figure out what the schools is. That's obviously larger. There's 2 school districts in that township. And as Alderman Rivera said, we also need to get Libertyvilles. So I hope that the people that at least give it equal complaints as far as your property tax bill. That's all that I would at least ask. But I welcome it. That we work for you, and you tell us, you know, taxes are tough, then we have to listen. Another thing along the same line as Alderman Cunningham, he sort of struck a nerve with me. I was listening to NPR, and there was a gentleman on there who was talking about Austin Polytech and how this high school on the west side of Chicago has become a model. It was started by a guy, or at least the idea by a person who lost his job in manufacturing and has since become a huge proponent of different type of manufacturing and bringing back a certain skill set back into America, because if you ask most people, they think manufacturing has left America. But this guy has proven that there's certain manufacturing that has not. So I would like, with whoever would like to go down there, we probably need to get the school district involved somehow, obviously, and go down and either reach this guy. I'm going to look at on NPR and try to find him. He's pretty nationally known. And maybe the mayor, myself, whoever else would like to go down there, because I think for far too often American education has tried to pigeonhole kids into one model. And we've fallen behind the times on that. The old traditional high school that most of us have gone to, yeah, that may fit for some people, but some people that don't fit. When you got a community as large as Waukegan, you need more than one model, in my opinion. You need a different type of model to serve a different type of person. So with that said, I'd like to get that ball rolling if possible, with the help of anybody that would like to help me on that endeavor. Thank you.
Alderman Beedling.
I too would like to thank our police department and good work over at the gun store in Glenwood. I especially want to thank you for the work in your plan that you implemented over in the north on Grand and Buttrick, and the personal attention that you paid over there. It's made a big difference. The neighbors were at a wit's end with all the activity going on over there this summer. And thank you for your service. You're an Army veteran, correct, Chief? Thank you for your service, sir.
Alderman Newsom.
Just one issue, one item, I guess I should say. I just wanted to thank Tom Haggerty and the Public Works crew. I see a lot of the leaves being picked up in the city. They're doing an excellent job. And just a reminder for those that are breaking their leaves to the parkway to make sure they stay on the parkway and not in the streets where they go into the gutters and then they're blown all in the middle of the streets. So when Public Works comes through, they'll rake them down to the curb and vacuum them up. So if you could please just put them on your parkway, they'll come along and pick them up. That's all I have.
Alderman Tempest?
I think everybody else has said enough comments this evening. I agree with most everything you said, and prepare for Thanksgiving. It's going to come sooner than you think.
Oh, yeah.
Alderman May.
Thank you. There's a lot of construction projects going on in Waukegan schools right now in my particular ward at Greenwood School. And I've been in constant communication with the principal, as I'm sure all the other schools would communicate with the aldermen of those wards. So I just urge the residents, if you have any concerns or questions regarding the construction in your neighborhood, if you live near a school, there are Bowler Construction at Greenwood School has 2 project managers on site every day, and we do get the phone calls, and we are ready and available. So I encourage you to call me if you have any questions about the construction at Greenwood School, or call Joyce Meyer at Greenwood School, and I'm sure that would pertain to any school in the district or any other alderman. And that's all I have. Thank you.
That concludes public comment. I do want to add one thing. I want to encourage everybody to donate to the Red Cross. They really took a licking on the East Coast last week, and it's going to be a long, long time recovering. There are entire cities that are basically almost gone, and there's a lot of places that from what I've read, that are not going to be habitable again. So let's keep that in mind, and let's all donate generously to the Red Cross to help them with what they're doing there. Now I'll take a motion by Alderman Newsom, seconded by Alderman Moisio, to go in executive session for review of claims and possible real estate transactions.
Pending litigation.
And pending litigation. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We're going to take a couple minutes
Chief
break
Grayhouse.
before we go in.
Chief Grayhouse. Chief Grayhouse.
Hey.
Motion to come back into regular session by Alderman Beatley, seconded by Alderman Moisio. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to adjourn by Alderman Tempest, seconded by Alderman Cunningham. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thanks, everybody.